What's going on, everybody? Welcome and welcome back to the channel. This is the Fourth Wall Podcast, the show where I'm going to be reacting to all things reality television. I'm talking about the hottest and the coldest, from the most captivating headlines to dissecting my favorite reality shows. We're going to be talking about it all, from what crosses our screens to what graces your timelines. I'm your host, Oaklyn-Jonas Galloway, and without any further ado, let's get into chaos and charcuterie. Okay, so starting off this part of the show is going to be chaos and charcuterie. This is going to be basically our hot topic segment where I'm going to talk about the craziest headlines that's come across my timeline and just give my opinions, ask some questions, and, do my culture critic and unsolicited opinion thing. Right? I wanted to bring some of the most interesting headlines that have been crossing my desk outside of the regularly scheduled programming and circle them back around to your screens. Starting with James Murphy from the show Sunday Best. He recently posted on social media in response to the America's Next Top Model documentary, and it kind of rose some questions for me. Let's take a look at the tweet. So he posted on Threads recently, "How long is an NDA? I'm ready to tell my Sunday Best story. Y'all thought ANTM was something?" And then there's a bunch of exclamation points, question marks, and a couple of emojis that intend that his story is going to be something of a doozy, right? I think that my initial response is, how don't you know how long your NDA is? Did you not read your contract, and did you not have legal counsel? My first immediate two questions in reading that. Because that's wild that you don't know how long your NDA is. Most of the time when I hear people saying that they have an NDA and that they're waiting to tell a story, they know exactly how long their NDA is, most of the time down to the date of when they can speak. So that concerns me based on you giving us that bit of information off of the top. Second off, it does pique my curiosity a little bit. Only because of the Leandria Johnson factor. And while I understand and am pretty sure that she had her own demons that have plagued her going into Sunday Best, I wonder how much of her experience on Sunday Best caused her to lean into her demons that she suffers with. Because I'm not really familiar with the show. I wasn't much of a Sunday Best watcher, but I have heard things throughout the years that never really gained much traction, but they were concerning to me along the way. I never personally felt the need to dive into them, like I said, because I wasn't a fan of the show. But with this revelation coming to social media, albeit in a way that doesn't seem as serious as he wants us to take it, I would like to hear the story nonetheless. So, James, if you ever do want to tell your story, I'm sure that the algorithms will be watching. If you want somebody to personally tell your story too, my social media is at OJ Galloway on all platforms. Let's move on. Okay, so speaking of the America's Next Top Model documentary, I think that there was no way I was going to get through this first episode without speaking on this documentary in some capacity. But I wanted to try to approach it from a way that was a little differently than a lot of the people I've seen give commentary on this subject. I wanted to try to personalize it in a way that brings not only my own experiences or my own connection to the show to my questions, but also just try to look at it from a different perspective. So for me, I feel like everybody else that Tyra took no accountability. And what that looked like for me was just media training gone wrong. I think that in the era that she got media trained and the era that she came up in as a personality specifically, I think that not only her coming from a place of a model that was supposed to be pretty and not talk, and then coming from a reclamative place of using her voice as a woman and as a model specifically as her power, I think that she has always been calculated about the way that she expresses herself whether it be something that ages well or not. However, in this documentary, it was very clear that she has not caught up to the social media relatability that this documentary is geared towards as far as demographic. I think that Tyra Banks in this day and age has no true sensibility of what the audience wants, even though she claims to have a vast knowledge of it. Because if she had taken the time to sit back and really be honest with herself and with the people who were producing this documentary, she wouldn't have contradicted herself so much in her responses to the questions. Because there are parts of this documentary and parts of her responses where you see her clearly trying to give herself her flowers and up herself as the person who was trying to pave the road to hell with good intentions. Yet moments later, you will see her counteract everything that she just said to prop herself up in order to defend herself or save face in a moment where she would have to take accountability for something where her having those attributes or having the knowledge or information or experience that she claimed to have earlier in her commentary or earlier in her recollection of the events that went on, it would make her more accountable. So even in that, I don't know how much of that is media training and how much of that is just sheer deflection, but I think it's sad that she pitched her participation in this documentary as her finally telling her truth. And I guess what we got was her truth, but it wasn't the complete truth. And I guess when somebody tells you their truth, you shouldn't expect them to give you the entire truth. But if you're going to prop yourself up in a situation to be approaching a documentary of all things about something that you've stoked for over 20 years as your brainchild, your baby, the thing that you stake your career on first outside of modeling, it just seems like you would want to handle it with the utmost care possible, even in the retrospect of you taking the responsibility for not handling it with the utmost care when you were making it. Because we can give you the grace of you were trying to keep up with the show, you were trying to keep up with the success that the show had, and you had network executives that you had to please and this, that, and the third. But it seems like you don't want to own your part in that. Because while we do accept and understand that you had network executives, you had bosses, you had people that you had to answer to, and the entire show was not based around your point of a finger or your click of a pen or your bat of an eyelash. You trying to completely remove yourself from the rooms that you also directly place yourself in is not going to absolve you of any of the responsibility that you now so clearly seem to be avoiding. And I think that's the thing that is most frustrating to the people who are watching this, because we also feel like we're being gaslit into taking blame for the media that we consumed. Not just by you, but by other people in the documentary as well, like the fellow judges. We'll get to that in a second. Speaking of the fellow judges, I want to talk about why you were so dismissive of the conversation surrounding Miss J. Or, excuse me, Mr. J. Because we didn't even get to see you get really asked about Miss J in the current state and the current events outside of Miss J's recollection of your lack of participation in his life as of late. But as far as Mr. J is concerned, your response to that question was extremely dismissive, and then you caught what you were saying and you tried to save face by saying what a special man he was. And that was, to me, the realest you were in this documentary. I feel like you said, nah, I don't want to do this here. I felt like that was the most instinctual response you gave in the entire docuseries. And that is sad all in itself, because based on the relationship that not only he in this documentary, but the both of you over the years, not only on America's Next Top Model, but outside of in interviews and all of those things, a lot of us remember watching those things in real time. Y'all had a friendship that stretched before America's Next Top Model, throughout your career as a model, throughout his career as a makeup artist. That was the reasons why the people who you reached out to be on this show were on this show, specifically the Jays, is because you had experiences with those two people that qualified them as the experts you propped them up to be on this platform. So I wonder what in the dynamic of him wanting to leave in cycle 9 damaged your relationship or your perspective of your relationship with him so much that his interpretation of your relationship with him going forward was feeling iced out after being gaslit and blackmailed into staying by the higher ups. I think that's something that I would love to dive into. Is it the book that he wrote, the novel? Is it the Jay's chats? Is it him being willing to speak about his disappointment in your friendship so publicly? Is it something that's behind the scenes that damaged you all so personally that you felt the need to ice him out in that way? Was Mr. J so close to you as a male figure in your life that, because in my recollection of your life story, I believe I watched an E special on Tyra a long time ago, and I believe you lacked a strong presence of your father in your life. Did that feel like a trigger for you, him wanting to leave the show after building the platform with you after all of these cycles? Did him wanting to leave after cycle 8 trigger you like the abandonment of your father or the lack of presence that you wish you had of your father growing up? Because as somebody who lacked the presence of not one but 2 fathers in their life, I can understand that positioning and that thought process. So I'm trying to dive a little deeper to understand the biggest points for me of this docuseries, and your contention with Jay was just one of the most striking for me. I want to dive deeper into that. And does Jay just know where all the bodies are buried? Like, I really want to know, what was it specifically about Jay Manuel that made your response to him so dismissive? But in that, it also makes me want to know why we didn't see you get asked about Miss J at all. That is also very interesting to me, because now that I think about it, we didn't really see, we saw your understanding of who Miss J was to you back then. We saw your understanding of, what Miss J meant to the show. But as far as your current relationship with Miss J, the only thing that we got was you haven't visited. And you sent a text conveniently during the time of filming this documentary. And yet, in current time, as of the former judge's taping of the Sherri Shepherd show, you hadn't visited him still. And the filming of the documentary was, from what I'm hearing, a year before the release. So you hadn't texted or communicated or visited Miss J since she had the stroke in 2022. The filming of the documentary was at least in 2024, 2025. You text Miss J a week before filming the documentary. Hadn't gone to see them in a year after that, up until the filming of the Sherri Shepherd show and the release of the docuseries. What I'm finding to be a pattern when it comes to Tyra Banks, in watching her speak about Jay Manuel, watching her not even be asked about Jay Alexander, watching her avoid her recollection of the situation with Shandy, it seems like her lack of communication seems to speak louder than anything she will ever say. Because while, and I'm speaking at this point and specifically in regards to the Shandy situation, there's a clear contradiction. I'm going to keep bringing that up because this is a blatant example of that contradiction that I was speaking of earlier, of her saying that in that situation she learned how to be a master editor, yet production and story was not your role, and production was not your place. It was Ken Mock. Like, that is the situation that triggered me the most when it came to your lack of accountability in this docuseries. Because whether we want to stake our belief in whether Shandy was sexually assaulted or not, whether we want to place our hat on that or not, at the end of the day, a woman was filmed interacting in sexual intercourse beyond the point of cognizant or coherent control. Whether the man forced himself on her or not, she was unable to respond, let alone willingly give herself to him. I understand that it was a different time, as they kept trying to say, but the effects of a woman being taken advantage of have not changed in 25 years. The feeling of a woman needing protection has not changed in 25 years. Especially coupling that with the fact that one of Tyra Banks' main missions in her entire career, from the starting of her Camp T-Zone, to her starting America's Next Top Model, to her starting her talk show, to her wanting to do Model Land, is always to create an advantageous and a safe space for young women, right? So how is it that not only in that moment, because you edited the footage, you literally said on your talk show that you edited that scene specifically, how is it that in that moment you had no thought process of, this shouldn't be aired? This girl was blackout drunk. There's like, what, like, how? You didn't think to protect her in that moment, especially because this had nothing to do with modeling. I could see it if you wanted to leave something crazy in the show that had something to do with modeling, like Danielle falling in the 6-inch heels, or, you know, the girls messing up the teleprompter, or getting knocked off of the runway by the pendulum. But this girl, whether you're willing to admit that she was sexually assaulted on camera or not, you filmed her having sex on a show about competing for a modeling career. How much story did you need? But the fact that in that moment, in the editing bay, when you were editing that scene and then had to re-edit that scene later because of the Janet Jackson Super Bowl incident, when Jay Manuel let it be known that you had to go back and re-edit that scene as well. Both times that you were in that editing bay, you never thought to take this out. But even 25 years later, when you're sitting here and you have the moment and you have the position and the platform to talk about it, you avoid it. You avoid even making direct connection with the situation or even acknowledging her specifically or what the situation was. I think that that's completely disgusting. I think that that's completely disgusting. And I think any other point that I could make on the documentary really wouldn't even compare to what I just said. Let's talk about Jill Zarin being fired from The Golden Life before cameras even started rolling or a trailer has even been shown to the public. I don't know why y'all are surprised. I'm not shocked that anybody from the original cast of The Real Housewives of New York said anything that would be even slightly or remotely construed as racist. I'm not sure if the people who are outraged by what Jill Zarin said don't have a history with the original cast of The Real Housewives of New York, but these are women who just from the cast of The Golden Life specifically, Ramona has been investigated twice for racist colloquialisms used around Black crew members on the show. Luann basically did blackface on camera in order to portray herself in a Marge Simpson version of a Diana Ross costume. I don't understand why anybody is surprised, especially in this day and age of the internet when people are so quick to go and dig up the things that people have done in their past. They're so quick to pull up the past tweets of the new cast members of Vanderpump Rules and expose them for racism. Not this specific cast of the reboot, but I'm talking about old cast members. I don't know what's going on with this new reboot of Vanderpump Rules. I have no interest. I don't know what you all were greenlighting when you decided to do this show, but I wish that you all had vetted the cast members you decided to bring back more. Because I'm sure every single one of them that you decided to bring back for this show is problematic in some sort of way that can be traced to a post, a scene, something that they've done publicly that can be accounted for. So the worst kept secret in Atlanta has finally been confirmed, and K. Michelle and Pinky Cole have officially been announced as not only new cast members of season 17 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, but the newest peach holders. And I'm here to say, y'all, this feels like y'all finally got it right. It feels like y'all finally got it right, and it feels like we're finally gonna get something worth watching after season after season after season of y'all trying to shove stuff down our throats that we didn't ask for, yet y'all are claiming that was like y'all act like we asked y'all for certain things over these past few years. Like, who asked y'all to give Marlo a peach? I digress. But say all of that to say, I feel like, if I'm gonna be honest, K. Michelle, if she's coming to give the K. Michelle that's anything close to what we got on Love and Hip Hop, she's coming to fill that spot that y'all want Bravo to put Nene Leakes back in. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it. If K. Michelle comes and give us the TV that we think she's gonna give us, and based on what we saw in this trailer, she is, Nene Leakes' spot is sewn up. There's no way she's coming back. Now, mind you, I didn't think that she was coming back anyway, based on the fact that Andy made it very clear that she was never offered a full-time spot on the cast of The Ultimate Road Trip. So the fact that she's one of the OGs, and she's back in the fold, and this wasn't the way to roll her back in, a la a Phaedra, says something. But K. Michelle is about to come and give us all the antics, all the kookiness, all of the one-liners, the reads, that Nene Leakes ever gave us on this show, and then some, because she's also going to give us a tangible talent outside of her abilities as a reality television personality. Because we finna get access to this country music. Let's not act like this ain't the reason why she's here. Mama got an album to put out, and K. Michelle has said it before. Reality TV has always pushed her music further. So if she's going back to Love and Hip Hop multiple times to push her music, if she's going back to doing her own show multiple times to push her music, imagine what she is about to do with the platform of the Real Housewives of Atlanta for her first country album. That is wild. And on top of the fact that she said in the trailer that she signed to the biggest country music label and she's the only Black woman on it, Mama is using what she got to get what she wants. And I can't be any more happier for her. The rest of this cast, the way that this cast is shaping out, if this cast is done right, if this season is done correctly, this feels like this could be like a refresh or a rebirth of the genius that was the season 6 cast. This is the first time that the overall cast has felt really, really, really good. I haven't been this excited for a Real Housewives of Atlanta season in a long time. In a long time. Like, even the person who I'm not excited about, I'm excited about. Shamia. Y'all better do this right. Y'all better do this right. Because if y'all went and pulled all these punches, y'all got Angela Oakley, y'all have Drew Sidora, y'all have Portia, Phaedra, Kimberly Michelle Pate, all on one cast with the legend that is Cynthia Bailey as a friend of. If y'all don't get this right, y'all deserve to get canceled. It's no shade. It's no shade. I want to extend my utmost empathy, sympathy, thoughts, prayers, condolences to Mary Cosby. Rest in peace to Robert Jr. I think that her making the decision to continue to film the season, even in the midst of her son passing, is a level of strength that I can't say I didn't expect from a Mary Cosby, but I am pleasantly surprised to see her display in this context. As someone who has not only lost a child, but lost a son specifically, I feel the pain that you're going through. I feel what you're going through. The only other thing that I have to say about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is that it is being reported that the death of Robert Jr. was not the reason that the filming of this current season was halted. So in that regard, it does make me extremely curious as to know what was the reason that filming was halted and what could have been so grave or so dire that the entire season be halted that it happened at the exact same time as Mary's son passing. Last but not least, in our Chaos and Charcuterie segment, I want to talk about the survival competition series, World Scout: The Final Piece. Now, if you know what this show is, tap in with me and let me know if you're watching, because the reason why I want to talk about this is because the show isn't necessarily airing anywhere that the American audience can view it, right? If you don't know what the premise of the show is, if you know who Cat's Eye is, the show that they were created on, Dream Academy, the people who put that show together, Hybe and Geffen, they are taking 3 of the trainees from that series that didn't make Cat's Eye. They're putting them together in a group and creating another survival series to find a 4th member, right? Now, mind you, the series is specifically set in Japan and they're looking for their fourth member specifically from Japan. From what I'm being told or being shown in my research is that the show is only airing in a Japanese platform. I believe it's called Amoeba. I'll correct it if it's not. But is this supposed to be another global girl group? Is this supposed to be a J-pop group because you're specifically looking for the fourth member in Japan and you're only airing the show in Japan? What is the premise of this group? Because from my understanding, it was supposed to be another K-pop group or another global girl group trained under the K-pop system. Or is this group supposed to be trained under the J-pop system because you're only looking for your fourth member in Japan? It's very confusing to me because it's the same people who created Cat's Eye. It's members from Dream Academy, but from what I'm being told, they're doing the same format again. It's just the way that they're doing it makes no sense to me at all.
At all.
Because it feels like they're supposed to be a girlicious to the Pussycat Dolls, if that makes sense. Like, my interpretation of this announcement was that it was very PCD presents Girlicious is World Scout as PCD presents We're Looking for the Next Pussycat Doll is to Dream Academy. And I guess in the context of the show, the first iteration of the PCD show is actually the concept of World Scout, but I just don't understand what we're supposed to be getting from this group. Let me know if you guys are interested in the girls from Dream Academy. I believe it's Lexi, Emily, and Samara from Dream Academy being placed in a group together. They're already being announced as the group and they're looking for their fourth member in Japan. Let me know your thoughts on that, because I know I've heard a lot of discourse about it feeling like Dream Academy rejects being thrown into a group, and now all of a sudden the seriousness of that is being taken away from them before they even debut. But to me, that doesn't make any sense when we see K-pop members from other survival shows debut in other groups all the time. And if you really want to go deeper into that and pull a wild card, Savannah from Girl Set, who landed in Vicha, was actually in the running to be in Cat's Eye. All right, everybody, that's been our Chaos and Charcuterie segment. Let me know what you guys thought about my commentary. Jump down in the comments with your feedback as well as your suggestions on what you think I should be covering in this segment when it comes to the next episode. Send me your favorite headlines, send me the craziest stories, things that are coming across your timeline on social media. Hit me in my DMs and let me know what you guys would like me to talk about. Now, moving on from that, we're about to jump into our coverage of what's currently airing in reality television. I'm going to take a quick break and I'm going to be back with some more commentary. Stay tuned. Alrighty, starting with the Housewives Cinematic Universe. I think that I have to separate the HCU into its own segment because trying to intermix it with just all of the other shows, it seems like it's a little difficult because there's so many franchises within that just by itself that I kind of have to make it its own segment and then get into everything outside of that, right? Starting with the Real Housewives of Potomac, their reunion just wrapped and you know, it's very interesting to me because this is going to be a common thread that I'm going to play into a lot of my commentary tonight. I love this cast, but this season was boring. This season was boring. But the problem is that I like this cast and y'all gave us good moments that made me want to see most, if not all of you, next season. There was just a lot of things that I just did not understand. First of all, I don't understand why Giselle is here because her entire place on this season was a caricature of herself. It was almost like she it it almost felt like Giselle's presence on the show was like somebody who had left the show for 3 seasons, came back, and now she doesn't really care about maintaining the fourth wall of the show or maintaining the reality television of it all. And she was just spilling all the beans about all the mess that she'd been causing all these years because the girls are finally doing worse stuff than she does. Like, it just felt like Giselle had clocked out of this entire season, but only clocked in to bully Angel because she was an easy target. And I guess production told her, girl, you gotta get in there and do something. Ashley, I don't know why you're here. I don't know who is helping you spend Michael's money, but you need somebody to help you out with that. Because you just out here buying stuff and spending this man money and doing stuff that just don't seem to be making no sense. And I'm just so tired of your contradictive personality. Like, you seem to get off on being messy, but recoil at the iota of an inclination that you are messy. And it's annoying at this point. I am so tired of it, especially when we have people like Tia, Stacy, Jazzy, even, who want it bad enough and are entertaining enough to replace y'all. Like, Giselle, I know you've been propped up as the face of this show the entire time, but you have not contributed a damn thing worth being put at the forefront of this show in seasons. Hence why you are the second and third chair at the reunion the past 2-3 seasons. Like, I don't understand the level of arrogance that you come into this show with when your market share in this cast is slipping before your very eyes and we are watching it happen in real time. It is wild to see. Especially when people like Stacy have come in and have delusionally swept this entire audience right from under every single one of y'all's feet. Y'all need to figure this out. Speaking of Stacy, Monique, it felt like you fed into a lot of bullshit on the show when it came to the way that the girls treated Angel, because you know that that's just how the show works. And that is a surprising angle. I expected you to come in and be the girl to be like, okay, so I know how this works. We're not gonna do this. I'm gonna step in and pull Angel to the side and really show her how this works. Instead, it felt like you contributed to the pile on onto her with not only contributing to the petty stuff that they were talking about, but you also projected the insecurities and the reflections that were negative about your marriage to Chris Samuels onto her and her marriage to Bobby, just because you saw things that were similar. Mind you, people are not a monolith. Athletes are not a monolith. Black women are not a monolith. So, as somebody who works in the space of commentary, I understand observation just as much as the next person. But I wish that instead of sharing your opinions with the girls first, you would have shared it with Angel first. I get that, in the proximity of, the girls and the timeline and the filming and all of the stuff going on, it came up and you talked about it when it came up. But I wish that you would have compartmentalized as much as you spoke on in that moment and gave enough to answer the question, but stand on the fact that you wanted to reserve the full display of your thoughts to have that conversation with Angel, because now we never got to see you have that conversation with Angel so that we could really see what you were directly talking about. If the obvious of everything that we picked up based on what we saw was not really what you were trying to project. Stacy, I am so ambivalent with you, but I appreciate everything that you bring to the show. I appreciate the way that the audience has embraced you, and I appreciate you in the majority of your presentation on this show. There are certain things that you do that annoy me, like lie. on the show. But overall, in 75% of your performance on this show, you have been killing it. I just wish you would stop lying about stupid ass shit that you don't have to lie about and then get mad at people like Tia who call you on it later when she had full blown reason to be upset with you when you not only lied to her but then lied on her. Closing out my HCU commentary, Beverly Hills is the only other segment or the only other franchise, excuse me, that's airing right now. And I don't really have anything to say on the most recent episode because I haven't watched it yet. The reason being is because I don't like the majority of this cast. I used to love this show. I used to love this cast. But for some reason, I don't like the majority of y'all. And the only reason I am going to check in on this cast is because of Rachel Zoe. And it's even less about the fact that I am an original Bravo Celebrity fan and I came into watching Bravo because of people like Rachel Zoe and Kathy Griffin. But her tenure on this show so far, her run on this show so far has been amazing because it's so effortless. It's so effortless, and yet it is so consistent with the Rachel Zoe that we know, as well as seeing her expand, be the fun girl, let her hair down, the girl that we didn't get to see on the Rachel Zoe project because she was so serious, but yet we also get to see her be vulnerable. It's very interesting. It's like it's like we get to see the same girl, but yet we get to see the advanced version, and that's exactly what we needed. That's exactly what she was supposed to bring. She's taking it. The only other thing I will say about this, as far as newbies goes, Bose, for some reason, I'm not liking you right now. And I haven't watched a few episodes. I have to clock back in and really see what's been going on with you this season. But the first few episodes this season, I don't like what you've been bringing. It seems like last season you came in and your observational demeanor read to us as you came in and clocked all the girls, but you really were just kind of coming in, scoping the scene, surveying the land, and kind of seeing what was going on. And the way that you did it looked like you came in and put foot on neck. But this season, now that you know everybody and it feels like you have more of a rapport with the girls, it feels like you just going along to get along. And I don't like it. And mind you, you probably weren't intentionally on everybody's necks, even though you stood in that energy that everybody gave you when you went and did your press run. So I don't know if it was intentional or not, but you took ownership of it. You're not doing that this season for me. It seems like you're just there and you're kind of just, just there. Sutton, Strack, or Brown, I don't give a damn. For me, Sutton has established a personality of being too unaware of other people's feelings while simultaneously wanting everyone's feelings to be, or wanting everyone to be cognizant and aware of her feelings, that I don't give a damn when Sutton is going through anything because she never seems to give a fuck when anyone else is. Sutton is very much, if you don't give a damn, I don't give a fuck. But she not gonna give a damn or a fuck at all.
At all.
And it's so frustrating because Sutton blatantly chooses to not give a damn at all.
At all.
But then wants everybody's sympathy for her simultaneously. It is buck wild to me. Dorit, please hurry up and divorce PK so that hopefully you as a single woman brings some sort of personality that makes us like you again. Because at this point of your separation from your husband, you are annoying and we are over it. It's sad that you sat up here and exposed your husband as an alcoholic, exposed him as a bad father that isn't a willing or consistent participant in his children's lives, to the point of going to the lengths of what I believe was a get your lick back on Kyle. asking Mauricio to have a one-on-one meeting with you so that you could plead to him to go and plead to your husband. And Mauricio sat there and clocked you in real time and said that if all the stuff that you're saying to me does not make any sense because of the stuff that I've seen from PK. So the fact that your hearsay does not even raise an eyebrow to the receipts that Mo has seen says a lot about what you said last season. It raises an eyebrow to me about everything you said last season, and it's going to raise an eyebrow for me about everything you have to say going forward. Divorce that man and get the hell on. Erica, you know, we just started liking you again, and now you finna go back and have to deal with this $25 million lawsuit that we thought you got away from. Now that it's you, I hope that you handle it better than you did when it was your husband. I don't really have much to say about that other than that. I think that it's interesting that people are surprised that Erica Jane is somebody who went through domestic violence. I think that what I'm most surprised about is that it was recent. And I'm only partially surprised about that because I've seen so many people get taken advantage of in vulnerable places and in vulnerable spaces in their lives. So it doesn't necessarily surprise me that it could happen. I'm just a little surprised that it did because she was in such a fight mode. I'm surprised she let anybody get that close to her to put her in that circumstance, I think is my observation of that. But the fact that she as a person went through it is not at all shocking to me. I don't think anybody looks like they can't go through it, one. And two, from my experience, it's very typical and it's very common for the people who present themselves as the strongest to be carrying some of the most surprising trauma. I think that the people who you would never expect to go through certain things are probably some of the first people to go through them. And the person who you expect to never go through them is the person who has survived going through it. But that's been my HCU recap. That's pretty much all I have to say about the Housewives. Let me know if you have anything that you think I should be talking about, any wife or franchise in particular that you feel like I should be covering in the HCU part of my recap segment. Let's get into the shows that I've been watching for a long time that I haven't necessarily been talking about publicly, but they're my longtime loves. Baddies! Post for me. All right, everybody. It is time to talk about Baddies. Listen, I have a longtime love for this show because not only is this, in my opinion, the best crash out show on television, but I also have an inherent connection to the lore of this show just because I'm a OG Bad Girls Club fan. The people who are on the show, especially this particular season, this is like an all-star season, so I know every single person on this cast. I've seen every single person on this cast on a previous season, so I have a connection to them and I have an understanding of who they are, so I'm not getting to know anyone new. The problem is there are so many girls that the majority of them are being wasted. As pretty as Janelle is, as great as her body looks, girl, why is Janelle here? That lady ain't said 2 words on 10 episodes. Now, mind you, if Janelle is the girl that don't mind playing the back as long as her check clears, fine. I don't know what that lady got paid to come here and do nothing, but Janelle is truly the new queen of Go Girl, Give Us Nothing. Because that lady is beautiful. She shows up on camera. She looks delectable. Her body is amazing. She fits in clothes, however tight or non-existent they may be in the time. But that lady has brought literally nothing to this season of Baddies. In talking about the people who have been contributing to this show but are also making it bad, Gretch, I don't know why you're here. And if the reason I think you're here is actually the reason you're here, Zeus is finna lose my $5 a month. Zeus is rage baiting its black audience. Zeus is literally gaslighting and rage baiting their audience with Big Gretch. And what makes it worse for me is the fact that there are baddies on this cast who are willing to excuse her using the N-word on this show amongst cast members in music, all because they're tired of talking about it. And the fact that it's so plausible and so easy for me to believe that this is exactly why y'all have this girl here is the most annoying part of it, because that it feels like I'm damn near reading a quote from Natalie. Because she would be the one to say, yeah, we brought her here because y'all hate her. And we knew that she was going to stir up some mess because she's not going to stop using the N-word, even though Natalie, who now identifies as a black woman, you know what? Maybe this is why. Because when you really think about it, Big Gretch is the new Natalie. Because everything that Gretchen was doing or is doing on this show is everything that Natalie Nunn was doing on season 4 of Bad Girls Club. The fact that this lady's entire brand, income, market share, status, positioning in the industry is built off of the degradation, of black women, it all of a sudden becomes almost inevitable for a girl like Gretchen to be there. Because if you remember Bad Girls Club, they presented and propped up girls like the Ambers to come on this show specifically to be racist. It all makes sense to me now. Gretchen is on this show to continue to replicate the dynamics that made Bad Girls Club successful, which was fighting, living in a house together, and intentionally casting people of conflicting dynamics and cultures. I have been a day one fan of Married to Medicine, and I have been windmilling in comments for this show for years, saying that this is the best show on Bravo that everybody is ignoring because it's set in the same city as the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But y'all have been failing me for at least the past 3 seasons. And this season has been the worst. I say that because I'm usually able to struggle through the season. I'm usually, even if the season is bad, even if it's boring, even if it's giving me stuff I don't really care about, I'm able to power through the season and still watch the entire season front to back, right? I can't tell you what episode Married to Medicine is on right now. I can't tell you how far they're in. I can't tell you what's happening. I don't know what's going on. I just know that from what I have seen of the season so far, I do not like it. Y'all are rehashing storylines. People are changing their dynamics and their presentations on camera, and it looks like production is getting in people's ears and telling certain people to crank it. Dr. Jackie, this is annoying. I'm tired of y'all, and I want Toya and Eugene to get a spinoff and leave y'all in the dust. That's really what I want. I'm sick of everybody on this show at this point. Everybody. It was just Quad for the past 2 seasons. I didn't understand why Quad was still here for the past 2 seasons. I didn't understand why y'all brought Phaedra in. I didn't understand why y'all made a lot of the decisions y'all made on this show over the past few seasons. But at this point, even the fact that y'all have you know what? I don't even think that's the case anymore. If I look at the cast, I believe that now y'all have more newbies than y'all have OGs. Or more people who have come in over the course of the show than started the show. I believe the only people who have been there since season 1 at this point are Jackie, Simone, and Toya. And Quad. So I believe it's what, half and half at this point? So the fact that the newbies are now taking over the show is now saying something. And the newbies y'all are bringing in are not giving us anything. Y'all are as bad as Basketball Wives at this point when it comes to your turnover rate. And it pains me that I'm having this conversation, but when you really sit down and think about it, Married to Medicine has not given us a long-standing returning cast member in years. The only person that we had was Anila, and before then it was Lisa Nicole. So I just don't understand what this show is for anymore. I don't understand what this show is for anymore. We're not getting any real peek into the doctor's wives anymore. We barely see Simone at work. We barely see Dr. Jackie at work. We barely see Contessa at work. We don't see Heavenly at work. Because now that her kids have been called into question this season, she's not bringing us around Zachary at the office no more. Laura is nowhere to be found. It's just, why is this show still going? I feel that Toya and Eugene need a spinoff and they need to leave y'all in the dust, because I would still love to watch their dynamic. Their story is the only one that I want to keep watching. I want to see Eugene and Toya figure out their work-life balance. I want to see Toya figure out what she's going to do in this next stage of her life as her boys are becoming teenagers and getting close to the empty nesting stage. What's going to be the thing that keeps her busy at this point besides being a mom? What's going on with her wine club? Is Eugene ever going to find a job that gives him the money that he wants to make to be able to afford the lifestyle that he and Toya want to live, while adequately giving him the satisfaction he desires as a medical professional, as well as the ability to live a normal life as the family man that he wants? Are they ever going to find that balance? What's going on with the boys, and how are they keeping their 2 boys from ending up like Simone's 2 boys? Hello? They're the only story that I want to follow. Because at this point, now that Simone done cut them boys off and is damn near ready to kick out Cecil again, I don't give a damn about what they got going on. I didn't give a damn about what Contessa and her husband had going on when they left, and I damn sure don't give a damn about it now. Heavenly, now that we see that daddy is able to keep a secret like your son being arrested from you, allegedly, I don't believe anything y'all say now. Anything. Because even if he did keep this from you, I now believe nothing that comes out of his mouth, and now you can't believe anything that comes out of his mouth. And if him keeping this from you was a story that y'all concocted for the show, y'all are dumber than we thought. So y'all can go too. Brandy and your husband, y'all are attractive, but I don't give a damn about nothing y'all have going on. I appreciate the story and what we got of y'all's story with your son's autism, but there's not enough of that to adequately want to keep y'all on an ensemble show, nor is it enough to want to see y'all in y'all own show. So y'all are very Senior Richard Ross about it, and I can take or leave y'all. Is that everybody? Quad, girl. Quad, you haven't given us a reason to stay on this show since you divorced Greg. Let's be very clear. You being amongst this friend group, you had 2 seasons as a single woman to stand on, well, I've been a part of this friend group since day one, and that's why I'm a part of this friend group, to figure out what your next chapter was going to be to keep you on this show. King was not it. Greg and Letitia were not it. While Greg and Letitia they could have been a good storyline for you to navigate, you didn't navigate it well enough, and I think that they gave you too much power in that. But I would have rather had Greg and Sweet Tea than you and King on this season. I would have been more interested in seeing them figure out their dynamic with the rest of this friend group than seeing you try to have a baby with a man that don't like you. And I hate to say it like that, but this entire season, all I have been able to see is King looking for a way out. That man ain't liked you since y'all started trying to get pregnant. And I think the reason being is that he wanted to enjoy his time with you and thought and bop and have sex these alleged 15 times a day, 15 times a week y'all been having it. But now that his coochie is prioritized to your ovaries, he's over it. Because now it's all an obligation. Like, now his relationship with you is a job. And he's over it. Because he already got kids. He don't really want no more kids. But he knows that to stay in this situation and to stay with you, that he was going to have some. So he was willing to explore the situation. But the entire way that he approached having kids with you was very much, that's your baby. I'm willing to give you the sperm to make it, but that's your baby. And so the fact that you seem so desperate to stay on this show, that you were willing to perpetuate yourself as so in love with a man that did not seem to like you, let alone beg him to have a baby on camera, you gotta go too. You gotta go too. Because what I watched you do on this show was sad. And it was unbecoming of the woman you built yourself up to be when you left Greg. You gotta go. If y'all ain't gonna reboot this show with Toya, Eugene, Mariah, and a crop of new girls, cancel it all together, give Toya and Eugene the spinoff, and keep it pushing. All right, everybody, that's been my coverage of the shows that I've been watching for a long time outside of the Housewives cinematic universe that I love, and now I'm loving to hate or hating to love. I'm not exactly sure which. Drop down in the comments and let me know what you guys thought of my coverage of Baddies as well as Married to Medicine. So let me know what you guys think about what I had to say about them, what you think that these companies should be doing with these shows, what cast members you want to see stay, what cast members you want to see go, and if there's anything that you feel like I missed. On that note, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back with our final coverage of the day, my budding friendship with the show that I have become absolutely obsessed with. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, closing out our show today, I want to talk about the show that I've recently started watching but have become absolutely, undyingly obsessed with, and that is Belle Collective. They just returned for their 7th season, I believe, and I haven't even gotten a chance to watch the new episodes yet because I literally just finished today watching all 6 seasons previous to this. I've been binge watching this show for weeks, getting ready to lead up to this new season because I started watching with my best friend and I became hooked like I have not been hooked on a show since Mob Wives. I am so ready to tap into Belle Collective season 7 and everything that they got going on now. Except this new girl, Carrie. I'm not in love with her. Now, mind you, when she came on the show, I thought she had a Tanya Sam spirit. I thought she had a Tanya from the Real Housewives of Atlanta spirit, and I thought I was gonna like her. She also reminded me of, I can't remember her name, but she was the biracial model from Blood, Sweat, and Heels on Bravo who ran the modeling agency that everybody tried to paint as having a drinking problem and not a problem drinking. Her. I believe it's Mickey, Mikhail, something like that. Her. She also reminds me a lot of her, but she came into this last season way too hot. She came in way too involved, way too strong, and I just didn't like most of what she had to say about everybody else in the group. Mind you, I'm not opposed to her coming back to the show. I'm not mad that she's back this season because I do believe every new reality star deserves at least 2 seasons to figure it out so that they can get acclimated in their first season, see what they did wrong, and then come back and actually be themselves, right? So I'm ready to see what she's going to do with this second season, but I hope that she turns it completely around 180 degrees. Just saying. As far as everybody else, Letitia Pearson, you are still in charge of the girls. I live for you. I love you down. Marie Monroe, you are the one. You are the one. They are never gonna make me hate you. You are always gonna be that girl, whether you admit to having this BBL or not, whether you actually had the BBL or not. You are that girl, and ain't nobody gonna convince you, me, or the general public otherwise. Latrice, while I'm glad that you finally grew into your money this past season, for some reason, I still can't believe anything you say. And I don't know if it's because your previous conflicts on this show have been with the people who have become my favorites. Because mind you, I walked into this show with no preconceived notions, right? But after going back and binging this show, the people who you've had the most conflict with have been the people who I like the most on this show. But going back and looking at this past season and seeing Glendale, put together the pieces of all of the contention in their relationship and all of the issues that have stirred between Letitia and other people have been because of Latrice and things that she has brought to this group. You are the mole, ma'am. You are the snake, ma'am. I don't while I can appreciate your personal development and how you are getting so tired of daddy shit, because as I watch this past season, I can tell you real tired of Cliff shit. You real tired of Cliff shit. I can see it. So I'm excited to see if you ready to leave him in this season or not. But I would never be in a friend group with you. I'm cool watching you on TV, but I would never be in a friend group with you because you are untrustworthy as hell. I don't know if this is a scheme that Letitia set up, like you claim she allegedly set up on Tambra to come back and set Akeisha up with the bullshit. But you are looking real untrustworthy. And I don't know how many times I can see someone point out something before I believe it. So I got my eyes on you, Angel Goddess Lynch. Tambra, why are you still on this show? Like, why are you still here? It seemed like you were a friend of the show last season because we didn't see you at the radio station. We didn't see a lot of you with Damon. I didn't realize that London Simone had gotten that big. So London Simone looked like she ain't ready to go to first grade. God damn, she's beautiful as fuck, but it feels like years have passed. Um, I just don't know what you're doing here because it seems like your only role on this show was showing up in support of other women on this show. And I didn't agree with a lot of the stances you took in support of the other women on this show because it seemed like you were willing to give one sided blind loyalty to people when you complained about that being the case with other people. That's very strange to me. I'm not exactly sure what it is you have left to show on this show because it's clear you don't want to marry Damon. I don't think you want to have any more children. And from the way that you interact with the rest of the Bells, it seems like you don't really care about being friends with them either. So if you're here for the check, can you find another check somewhere? Like, can you go on another show? Maybe you can try to go be on Belle Collective Birmingham with Stormy and them. And maybe you'll fit better with that friend group. Because it just don't, I just don't understand why you're here anymore. It don't seem like you friends with nobody. It don't seem like you want to be friends with nobody. And it don't seem like you have much to show outside of you being a helping hand to the rest of the Bells. Get her out of here. I'm excited. This show is everything that I've been looking for from Basketball Wives for years. It's everything that I've been looking for from every new ensemble reality show that Carlos King has been trying to do, from Bad and Bougie to Heart and Hustle. I don't know. But have you guys been watching Belle Collective? Have you started watching the new season? Without giving me too many spoiler alerts, let me know what I should be looking forward to on that. Who's your favorite cast member? Who are you most looking forward to seeing on this new season of Belle Collective? And who's your favorite cast member that's left that you kind of wish would come back? Because when Carrie came on this show and sounded exactly like Akeisha, and then her husband had the same storyline of working in sports as Willie, I was like, y'all really did try to legitimately replace them, but it's great value. It's really great value, Akeisha and Willie. And mind you, I get why the Colognes quit. Y'all really pulled it when y'all quit on that live. Kudos to y'all. Y'all ate that up. But I miss y'all. I miss the Colognes. I miss the Queen of Jackson. No shade. I don't know if you gonna try to bring Brick and Hobbs to Birmingham. I don't know if that bridge is burned with the Kingdom Reign, but I hope we get to see y'all more doing something. I miss y'all. So Gucci and JJ, I miss y'all. Speaking of, Selena, you had an amazing first season as a full Belle. Or was this your second season as a full Belle? I think last season you were in the opening the season before last, you were in the opening credits, but you really gave friend of the show energy. But then this past season, you really stepped up and gave full-blown main character Belle energy. Everything you got going on with Mike was some of the most, it was some of the realest stuff that we saw on the show when it came to the couple dynamics, because everything else that we had seen with the couples was shit that we had seen over and over and over and over and over again on this show, with the exception of Marie balancing Martin and her ex-husband, and then trying to rebuild this spin the block moment of her dating her ex-husband again. I think they had the best spin the block story I've ever seen. But Selena, keep giving us more of the same. I'm happy you're on this show because you were part of the reason I started watching this show to start with. You were one of the reasons I started watching Belle Collective, because I remembered you from Bring It. And I'm glad that you're having a second wave of reality television fame, because your first wave was really all about your kids and you really put it all into your kids, even though you had, your own role on the show. It was really about the girls. This wave is all about you. And I love we get to see your girls supporting you on this platform and not you supporting them on the last platform. We got to see you be the amazing mom that you are on Bring It. And even on this show, we still get to see you being an amazing mom and grandmother on Belle Collective, but we get to see you be you. And I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. So keep going, keep bringing that, keep turning it. I wish that we could have had a full collective blended family on Belle Collective with you, Sophia, JJ, and Mike, and the girls, but hopefully time will close that wound and it'll bring you all back together, not only as a family, but as an amazing part of a incredible ensemble. All right, everybody, that has been the first episode of the Fourth Wall podcast. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Thank you guys for joining me. Man, I All right, everybody, with that being said, that has been our first episode of the Fourth Wall podcast. I appreciate you all for tuning in. I appreciate you all for rocking with me. Join in the commentary, join in the comments, and make blah. All right, everybody, that has been our first episode of the Fourth Wall podcast. I appreciate you all for joining in. I appreciate you all for tapping in with me, joining in the fuckery. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the first episode of the Fourth Wall podcast. I appreciate you all for tuning in and joining the show. If you want to participate even more, make sure you guys join the commentary by jumping in the comments. Make sure you guys let me know what you want me to cover, what you thought about the show, the people on the show. If there's things that you think that I'm missing, things that you think that I should be talking about, make sure you make your presence known, make your voices heard, and make sure that you let your favorite shows be spoken on. With that being said, I'm Oaklyn-Jonas Galloway. This has been The Fourth Wall, and I'll see you guys next week. Stay tuned, and I'll see you soon.